व्रज जनरञ्जन
यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन
यमुनातीरावनचारी
नातिरावनचारी
यमुनातीरावनचारी
यमुनातीरावनचारी
जय राधमाधव कुंज विहारी
जय राधमाधव कुंज विहारी
जय राधमाधव कुंज विहारी
जय राधमाधव कुंज विहारी
जय कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा
जय कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा
जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम
जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम
जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय
जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय
जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद
जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभु
जय मिशपाद परमंस परिव्राजकचरेष्ठोत्तर सतत श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस केसी भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय जय मिशपाद परमंस परिव्राजकचरेष्ठोत्तर सतत श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्-भागवतम की जय श्री श्री कृष्ण रुक्मिणी सत्यभामा की जय श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 5, Text 1 and 2. Text 1 has a very short purport. So I'll read text 1 by myself and we'll chant text 2 together. Text number 1. Suta uvacha athatam sukhamasina upasinam brihatsravaha devarshihi praha viprarshim veena-pani smayanniva. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Suta Goswami said, thus the sage amongst the gods, Narada, comfortably seated and apparently smiling, addressed the rishi amongst the Brahmanas, Vedavyasa. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Narada was smiling because he well knew the great sage Vedavyasa and the cause of his disappointment. As he will explain gradually, Vyasadeva's disappointment was due to insufficiency in presenting the signs of devotional service. Narada knew the defect and it was confirmed by the position of Vyasa. Text number 2. We'll chant this together. Narada uvacha paracharya mahabhaga paracharya mahabhaga paracharya mahabhaga Bhavataha Kachit Atmana Bhavataha Kachidatmana Bhavataha Kachidatmana Paritushyati Sharira Paritushyati Sharira Paritushyati Sharira Atma Manasa Eva Va Atma Manasa Eva Va Atma Manasa Eva Va Narada Uvacha Parasharya Mahabhaga Bhavataha Kachidatmana Paritushyati Sharira Atma Manasa Eva Va Narada Uvacha Parasharya Mahabhaga Bhavataha Kachidatmana Paritushyati Sharira Atma Manasa Eva Va. Narada Uvacha said, Parasharya, O son of Parashara, Mahabhaga, the greatly fortunate, Bhavataha, your, Kachit, if it is, Atmana, by the self-realization of, Paritushyati, does it satisfy, Shariraha, identifying the body, sorry, Atma, self, Manasaha, identifying the mind, Eva, certainly, Va, and, translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Addressing Vyasadeva, the son of Parashara, Narada inquired, are you satisfied by identifying with the body or the mind as objects of self-realization? Kindly repeat. Addressing Vyasadeva, the son of Parashara, Narada inquired, are you satisfied by identifying with the body or the mind as objects of self-realization? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This was a hint by Narada to Vyasadeva regarding the cause of his despondency. Vyasadeva, as the descendant of Parashara, a greatly powerful sage, had the privilege of having a great parentage, which should not have given Vyasadeva cause for despondency. Being a great son of a great father, he should not have identified the self with the body or the mind. Ordinary men with a poor fund of knowledge can identify the body as self or the mind as self. But Vyasadeva should not have done so. One cannot be cheerful by nature unless one is factually seated in self-realization, which is transcendental to the material body and mind. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Chalakaya चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणम्। Couple of days back, somebody shared with me a post on social media by a person called Sandeep Maheshwari. Anybody has heard of him? So I was not aware. So I was thinking, who is this Sandeep Maheshwari? Then I checked up on the internet, who is this Sandeep Maheshwari? Sandeep Maheshwari is, he was actually from a very normal background. He came from a middle class family, and he started his, he was doing his BCom, dropped out of college, then tried his hand at modeling, did not work. Then he became a photographer. Then he got the idea to start an online portal called imagebazaar.com, and that became very successful. And today he started probably 2006 or 2008 or something like that. So in a short span, about 15, 16, 17 years, the company has grown to almost a 100 crore company, I think, and his net worth has become 30 crore. Short span of time made it big in life. And of course, this is one part of his story. He is more famous as a youth motivational speaker. On YouTube and all, there are a lot of videos that he posts. And he has got a followership of about almost 3 crore followers on YouTube. You can imagine, very popular, extremely popular. He has written one book also, How to Control the Mind. And the tagline of the book says, if you don't control the mind will control you. And a very good motivational speaker, gives very good talks. A lot of people have been motivated by him. He is very popular. Now this latest post which he has made, he says that everyone thinks that I am some sort of superhuman being, because he does all this motivational speaking, and people who are finding a lack of motivation, they are feeling down in life, they are feeling low, they are not able to become successful. They all look up to Sandeep Maheshwari. On his website also, Sandeep Maheshwari says that he was a person who struggled, failed, and then succeeded in finding great success, happiness, and contentment. So these are things which everybody is searching for: success in life, contentment, happiness. This is what everybody is searching after. And he says he has achieved all of this on a big scale. And he gives talks about how he achieved all these things and how everybody else also can follow his path and become successful and happy and contented and all these things. So in the post, he says, everybody thinks that I am some sort of superhuman being. But fact is, I am also subjected to demotivation. In fact, since 2020, he is saying that he has been battling depression. And he is seeing a psychiatrist and taking medication to overcome depression. So you see, he is supposed to be a motivational speaker, helping others by his talks, by explaining and narrating his own history and experiences, trying to help people to come out and become motivated and become positive in life and all that. And he himself is suffering from depression. And he has written a book called How to Control the Mind. And his own mind is making him depressed. And he has to take the help of a psychiatrist to cure his problem. Vyasadeva actually here, he is also facing a similar situation. Vyasadeva has written all the Vedas, Upanishads, Vedanta Sutra. Then he wrote the Mahabharata. In the Mahabharata, in the middle of the Mahabharata, there is the Bhagavad-gita. And in the Bhagavad-gita, what did Vyasadeva say? Vyasadeva said, Sthita Prajnaha, one who is a Sthita Prajna, one whose intelligence is fixed. What are his symptoms? His symptom is Atmanyeva Santushtaha. He is satisfied in himself. And he also said, in another place in the Bhagavad-gita, it says, he has recorded what Lord Krishna has said. Atmanyeva triptaha yaha syad na tasya karyam vidyate. So he says, Lord Krishna says that one who is satisfied in his own self has no requirement to do anything in this material world. He has no desire to achieve anything else in this world. So Vyasadeva has already spoken of being self-satisfied. And Vyasadeva himself has become unsatisfied. He is totally dissatisfied with whatever he has spoken, with whatever literature he has composed. Fact is, in this material world, everybody is searching for this satisfaction. And people are searching for this satisfaction in different fields. Somebody is thinking that by motivating others, I can become satisfied. Somebody is thinking if I attend this motivational speakers classes, I'll become satisfied. Somebody is thinking if I make a lot of money, I'll become satisfied. Somebody is thinking I become president of the United States. Now, for one more term, if I become president again, then I'll become satisfied. Or I'm the prime minister of this country, India. If I become prime minister for one more term, I'll become happy. I'll become satisfied. Just like now in India, so many, I think 4 states, today the election results are going to be announced. So there'll be many candidates, ex-CMs or past CMs, the current CMs, incumbent CMs, all of them are waiting. If I get one more term, I'll be satisfied. Everybody is searching for happiness like this. Scientists are thinking if we advance science and technology, we can become satisfied. The people can also, common mass of people can also become satisfied. Doctors are thinking if we advance medical science, then people can become satisfied and we will also be satisfied with our discoveries. But what is happening? People have made a lot of advancement in terms of, if you look at economy, politics, you look at medical science, in all fields, this current civilization supposedly has made so much advancement. If you look at medicine, today we have wonderful medical equipment. You go into a machine, it will scan you and tell you what exactly is there in your entire body. You have scanners to scan what is going on in the brain, what is going on in the heart, everywhere, or all parts of your body you can scan and find out if there is any problem, if there is any disease, or something may happen in the future. Now, so many multi-speciality hospitals have come up. There are specialists in different fields. So, a lot of advancement in medical science. What you should expect, people should become satisfied by this. On the other hand, if you look at the olden times, diseases were less complicated, and medication was free. Any Ayurvedic physician, any Brahmana comes asking Bhiksha at your home, somebody is sick in your home, you tell him, you give him one glass of milk, and you tell him this person is sick, he will check him and he will tell this herb you go and give him. And you go into the field, somewhere you will find herb, you administer to the patient will become okay. Medicine was completely free. Today, if you have to go to a multi-speciality hospital, first thing you go and meet the doctor, you have to pay a fees of 800 rupees, 1000 rupees. Then only the doctor will see you. And after seeing you, the doctor will write so much diagnosis you have to do. You go to the diagnostic lab. For the simplest of the blood tests, they will charge minimum 4,000-5,000 rupees. And if they tell you to get a scan or something, you will have to shell out 15, 20, 25,000 rupees. And you collate all the reports, 20, 30,000 rupees you collate. all the test reports and you go to the doctor. Like, in Bangalore, there was one person who was staff. He was working in the graphics department. I think his name was Mahesh or something. I've forgotten. So when I used to be in Bangalore temple, for many days I didn't see him. For about a week, 10 days, I didn't see him. Then suddenly he came back to office. Then I asked him, what happened? I didn't see you for so many days. So he said, oh, Prabhu, I had some trouble. I fell sick and then I went to the hospital. The doctor told me I had to get admitted to the hospital. And then the doctor told so many tests, and all those tests and the test reports will take time. So all that, I was in the hospital for about 7 days. So I said, finally, what happened? What was the diagnosis? He said, all the reports came. I spent about 50,000 rupees and got to know that I have no problem. So to doctor, after doing all those tests and keeping him in the hospital, he finally declared, you have no problem, we can go home. So even to know that if you go to a multi-speciality hospital, even to know that you don't have a problem, you'll end up spending 30, 40, 50,000 rupees. Now, who has that kind of money? So everybody, common mass of people, everybody is afraid. If I fall sick, I don't know what is going to happen. Where will I get money for my treatment? So better take a medical insurance. And you take a medical insurance, you go to the hospital, the medical insurance fellow will tell, no, for this disease, it is not applicable. In this hospital, it is not applicable. For this treatment, it is not applicable. And you ask, Hare Baba, I took medical insurance saying that you will cover all my treatment. No, you look at the fine print, which you cannot read unless you have a lens. There you see this class, it is there, we cannot give you. So where will people go? So all this medical advancement you are doing, it is creating greater and greater anxiety for the people. Why? Because the more multi-speciality the hospital is, the more the cost. Where will you get the money for treatment? Instead of making people satisfied, you are making them more anxious. And then you look at technology. So much technology has advanced. We have computers, we have microchips and all that. We have now communication is so easy. We have mobile devices on our hand. Olden days, if you had to call someone, you will have to go to the trunk dialing facility. You have to apply for it. Then you have to stand in the queue. And then finally the call will get connected. That also, the line will not be clear. And you can speak only for 6 minutes, 7 minutes. After that, it will get disconnected. That used to be the difficulty of communication those days, olden days. I am speaking about 1990s, 80s. Not very, 30, 40 years back. And now today, you look at even a sweeper in the street, he will be carrying a smartphone. And he will be doing a video call. You can talk to all your relatives, even if you are very far away, you can keep in touch with them. So much there is convenience. But what is the result? Have people become satisfied? Now everybody is addicted to the social media. And because of the social media, everyone knows. Social media, the two problems with social media is it will make you addicted to it and it will put you into depression. This is an established fact, scientifically established fact. Everybody knows, even the social media company, all the big social media company, they also know the software we are designing is designed to make the people addicted and it will cause depression in them. So, after all your technological advancement, what are you doing? Are you making people satisfied? On the other hand, you are making them addicted and you are making them depressed. So much economic development is happening. If you look at India in 1947, when India came out of independence, India was a poor country. Today, India is one of the most, one of the biggest, largest economies in the world today. But have Indians become more satisfied than they were in 1947? You cannot say that. More and more people are being reported to be suffering from illnesses. Students going to college are committing suicide. Where is satisfaction? We can go on searching for satisfaction in different fields. Reality is, we will never be able to satisfied by all these things because we are not understanding our constitution. In fact, we can even go into philosophy. Nowadays, there are many big orators. They will talk all kinds of their own philosophies. If you go on the internet, because of all the proliferation of social media, it has given a platform for all these people to come and talk about their own philosophies in life. Big motivational speakers like Sandeep Maheshwari is one of them. There are many like that. All these people, they will come and espouse their own philosophy. By that are people becoming satisfied? In fact, the greatest philosopher, Vyasadeva, nobody can come up with a philosophy better than Vyasadeva's, or more analytical, more profound than what Vyasadeva has given. Can anybody beat the philosophy of Vyasadeva? Impossible. Even the greatest philosopher, Vyasadeva, is feeling dissatisfied. That means no matter what philosophy you come up with, you can never be satisfied. Why? Because, of course, what we have to understand is that Vyasadeva is a self-realized soul. He is fully satisfied in himself, but he is playing the role of being a dissatisfied person, so that we understand that all this philosophy, all this Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda portion of the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Vedanta Sutras, you go through all that, you study that, you follow that, you are not going to become satisfied. Vyasadeva wants to establish by his personal example. Just like Arjuna also, self-realized soul, he can never be in illusion, he can never be in ignorance. But still, by the Lord's will, by Krishna's will, he was put into ignorance so that he becomes a medium for Krishna to speak the Bhagavad-gita. Similarly, Vyasadeva, by Krishna's will, Vyasadeva is feeling despondent, so that it will become an opportunity for the advent of the Srimad-Bhagavatam. The fact is, no matter which field we take up, politics, economy, philosophy, science, medicine, you take up any field, you can never become satisfied, because none of these fields can teach you your real constitutional position. All of these fields, they are thinking that by adjustment of different activities, different philosophies, economy, science, technology, by adjusting all these things, we can improve our ability to exploit the sense objects. And by improvising and improving our ability to exploit the sense objects, we can become satisfied. That's the fundamental concept, the fundamental paradigm on the basis of which people come up with different things, thinking that this will make people satisfied. But in the Bhagavad-gita, Lord Krishna says, Indriyani paranyahur. Don't think that the sense objects are all in all. In fact, the senses are higher than the sense objects. Why? Because with the sense objects, in the sense objects, there is only that particular object which can be enjoyed. Like there is form, or there is sound, or there is smell, etc. But the senses are able to comprehend those things. And with the senses, you can actually enjoy the sense objects, and you can also manipulate them. You can enhance the experience that you are getting from the sense objects with your senses. Therefore, the senses are higher than the sense objects. Indriyani paranyahur. Indriyebhyaha param manaha. But higher than the senses is the mind. Because the senses work under the direction of the mind. If the mind is not working properly, the senses cannot work. Like for instance, you go to sleep. Then what happens? The mind has gone to sleep. You cannot sense any smell, taste, all these things. You cannot sense. When you are awake, when you are conscious, the senses will be active, and you will be able to interact with the sense objects. Therefore, the mind is superior to the senses. Indriyani paranyahur indriyebeha param manaha manasastu para buddhehe. So, the buddhi or the intelligence is higher than the mind. Actually, the constitutional position of the mind is to be always subservient to the intelligence. But our current position is such that the mind has become so obstinate, it is overcoming the intelligence. We may feed any amount of intelligence to any amount of knowledge to our intelligence, but the mind will do whatever it wants. Because we have given a free rein to the mind. But actually, fact is, if we train the mind a little, mind will follow the intelligence. Mind's nature is to follow intelligence. But unfortunately, because we are untrained, therefore we are not able to control the mind. So we need motivational speakers, we need books to study how to control the mind, and the author himself will not be able to control the mind. This is the situation. But fact is, with proper training on the basis of the Vedic scriptures, it is possible to control the mind with the intelligence. So you need superior intelligence, you need spiritual intelligence, only then you can control the mind. People think with material intelligence and material knowledge I will control the mind. Not possible. Yo buddhehe paratastu saha. Now intelligence itself is not supreme. Above the intelligence there is a soul. This people don't understand, they miss out. They equate the soul with the body and with the material sense objects. The sense objects are made of matter, the body is made of matter, the senses are made of matter, mind and intelligence is made of matter, and we equate the soul with all these things, and therefore what happens? We will never be satisfied. If you are not understanding your true constitutional position, how can you be satisfied? It's impossible. Now the Katha Upanishad, also there is a similar statement like in the Bhagavad-gita. The Katha Upanishad gives an even greater analysis, whatever Krishna has given in the Bhagavad-gita. The Katha Upanishad says, Atmanam Ratinam Vidhi. The Atma or the soul is like a charioteer. And Shariram Ratham Evacha. The body is like the chariot itself. The Atma, the soul, is seated within the body. And the soul is the charioteer. And the body is the chariot. And Buddhi Sarathim Evacha. Buddhim tu Sarathim Vidhi. The intelligence is like the driver. So the Atma is the occupier, is the passenger, not the charioteer. The Atma is the soul is the passenger in the chariot. The chariot is the body. And the intelligence is the charioteer. Because the charioteer gives direction, which way the chariot has to go. And Manaha Pragraham Evacha. The mind is like the reins with which the horse which is pulling the chariot is controlled. Why? Because the mind, the intelligence gives direction, and the mind gives the determination to achieve that destination. The intelligence gives direction, how to achieve a goal or a destination. The mind, the determination to achieve that goal or destination comes from the mind. So the mind is like the reins. Because the charioteer, although he is giving direction, he has to use the reins. Without the reins, he cannot control the chariot. So the mind is like the reins. Manaha pragraham evacha. Indriyani hayanahur vishayans teshu gocharan. And the indriyas or the senses are like the horses. They are pulling the chariot forward. So this is the situation of the body, of the soul within the body. Atmendriya yuktam bhokteti ahur manishinaha. The intelligent people say, in this fashion, the soul is attempting to become the bhokta, to become the enjoyer. You see how the horses or the senses are pulling the chariot of the body along. And we are seated and we are getting pulled. Now, instead of our giving direction to the intelligence, which is the charioteer, and the intelligence giving direction to the mind, and the mind using the reins to control the horses in which direction to go, that is the way the chariot should move. But what is happening? Now the horses are deciding which direction to go. And the horses are pulling the chariot in whatever direction they want to. Accordingly, the charioteer is also using the reins. And what is happening? The passenger, we are sitting and we are helplessly getting pulled. And tomorrow if the horses go and fall into a ditch, we have to fall there. We cannot help it because the horses are deciding which direction we have to go. The senses are deciding which direction to go. Therefore, we can never be satisfied. We can be satisfied when yo advanaha, when we use the same chariot of the body to progress. Advanaha paramapnoti, when we use the chariot of the body to progress in the direction of spiritual life. Tad Vishnoho paramam padam. So, that spiritual life, the goal of that spiritual life, the ultimate goal of that spiritual life is to attain shelter at the lotus feet of Vishnu or Krishna. Only when we utilize the body, the mind and the senses in serving the Supreme Lord Krishna in devotional service, only then we can become satisfied. If we simply keep allowing the mind like the horses to keep pulling the chariot, we can never be satisfied. If we identify ourselves with the body and mind, which are no good than dead matter, which is what makes up all the sense objects in this material world, we cannot be satisfied. Our satisfaction can come only yo advanaha paramapnoti, when we use this chariot to achieve the destination of spiritual life, to achieve the destination of devotional service to Krishna. Otherwise, there are two ways. One is use the chariot to go after sense gratification, to allow the horses to go whichever direction it wants. You can never be satisfied that way. On the other hand, you give direction to the chariot, to the charioteer and to the horses, that I want to go on the path of devotional service to Krishna. And therefore, all these people, scientists, economists, politicians, motivational speakers, industrialists, entrepreneurs, teachers, all the common mass of people, leaders, everybody, they are going which direction? They are going in the direction which the horses are pulling the chariot. They are all going in the direction which the senses are pulling. Therefore, nobody is satisfied in this world. Even the big philosophers, even they are also not satisfied. Externally, they will give big speeches. They will give big speeches, they will give motivational speeches, they will give a lot of philosophy, everything they will give you. Personally, if you see, they will be going to some psychiatrist and taking some medication. This is the situation. If you want to be really satisfied, then you have to learn how to run the chariot in the direction of Krishna's Bhakti Yoga, devotional service to Krishna, which begins with the simple process of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. What all these big leaders, big thinkers, big scientists, big doctors, they are not able to achieve that satisfaction. Simply if you chant Hare Krishna mantra, you will be far more satisfied than all these people. This is the reality. Because the Hare Krishna mantra, the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is not on the material platform, it is on the spiritual platform. And the moment you start chanting Hare Krishna, your chariot has started progressing. Yo advanaha paramapnoti tad vishnoha paramam padam, as the Kata Upanishad is stating. You have started your journey towards going back to Godhead, to the eternal shelter of Krishna in his abode, Goloka Vrindavan, and that alone can give us full satisfaction. Otherwise, like the example of Vyasadeva himself, even if you have the highest philosophy in this material world, you cannot be satisfied. And that is why Narada Muni is asking this very significant question. He is asking, O Vyasadeva, O son of Parashara, are you satisfied by identifying with the body or the mind as objects of self-realization? Because he wants to point out, this is the mistake, Vyasadeva, that you have done in writing all the Vedic literatures. You have focused simply on the senses and sense objects, and maximum on the intelligence and the mind. In the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas, they are totally talking about the senses and sense objects, their satisfaction. And if you look at the Jnana Kanda, you look at the Upanishads and the Vedanta Sutras, what are you teaching? To adjust with adjusting the mind and the intelligence. This can never give satisfaction. And so we will see actually what will give satisfaction will be explained in the upcoming verses, especially verses 10 and 11 of this chapter, and it will become clear that the real object which we all should try to achieve, which can give us satisfaction, is Krishna. There is no other object which can give us satisfaction. So I will stop here. If anybody has any question or comment, we can discuss. We'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo.